Welcome to Praying Through the Bible, number 25, Exodus chapter 4, verse 10, chapter 6, verses 12 and 30, a prayer of excuses. A neighbor asked to borrow my shovel. I said no. I needed the shovel to eat my soup. The moral of this story is we don't want to do something, any excuse will do. There are excuses and there are reasons. Can an excuse be given as a reason? Can a reason turn into an excuse? Can the unreasonable become replaceable with faith by Spirit-given gifts? Going down to Egypt, every thought and word of Moses expresses hesitancy, inadequacy, and stubbornness. Exodus chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. Despite that, it is also accompanied by grace-placated submission, chapter 4, verses 14 through 17. After the mission successfully fails, chapter 4:21, Moses blames his performance, his talents, himself. Chapter 6, verse 12 and 30. Let's look at Moses' praying excuse or reason for not serving. It is variously described in chapter 4, verse 10 as slow of speech. I can never think what I want to say. Hesitant speech or heavy of mouth. In chapter 6 is verse 12 and 30. Variously it's translated uncircumcised lips, speak with difficulty, poor speaker, lips are unclean, unskilled in speech. Colloquially, we would say, I get tongue-tied. I'm not a good speaker. I can't think on my feet. Thrice, Moses expresses these same self-doubts, possibly providing an honest appraisal of himself. Is there a real speech problem? No one knows. Like all Bible heroes, little is known about Moses personally. It's as if all that matters is what matters to God's purposes. That's putting things into humbling perspective, isn't it? Let me tell you an anecdotal story. One traditional story tells that when Moses was a child sitting on Pharaoh's knee, Moses took the crown off of Pharaoh's head and put it on. The court magicians took this as a bad sign and demanded that he be tested. They put a brazier full of gold and a brazier full of hot coals before him to see which he would take. If Moses took the gold, he would have to be killed. An angel guided Moses' hand to the coal, and he put it in his mouth, leaving him with a lifelong speech impediment. Oh, that is how some explain. If true, speaking plainly, Moses proved himself too stupid to be a royal threat. A wide gamut of rabbinical interpretations explain Moses' condition. Does Moses stutter, lisp, have a physical deformity? Is it glossophobia, fear of public speaking? Understandably, might he have forgotten the Egyptian language after spending 40 years in Midian exile? Could uncircumcised lips apply to Moses feeling like an outsider to his own people, unqualified by his past to lead? Is Moses' own opinion of himself false? Acts chapter 7:22. It doesn't matter, and here's why. Success does not come through Moses. How many preachers focus on their failures, verbal mistakes, forgotten information, ill-fitting quotes, prideful humor, and so on? How many listeners focus on that? How many don't do evangelism for fear of a mistake? Listen carefully, because I need to listen to this too. God does not succeed because of me, but despite me. In Corinth, Paul does not come with brilliance of speech or wisdom. He's determined to know nothing except Jesus Christ and him crucified. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 1 through 2. Growing up, my dad said every reason I gave was an excuse. I don't want my Heavenly Father thinking the same thing. The moral of this story: don't make excuses. even if we believe them. Here's our prayer challenge. If we think this is just about leaders, elders, preachers, we are missing the personal application to ourselves that only we can make. We all need to prayerfully check our excuses and double check our reasons. Are we expecting to succeed because of our talents, our performances, ourselves? That is not God's way. Start praying. This has been Praying Through the Bible, number 25, Exodus 4, verse 10, and chapter 6, verse 12 and 30, a prayer of excuses. If this has been a blessing to you, please share, and now you can find these on my YouTube channel. Thank you very much.